Hey, hey, man, what a day. What a day. I am like exhausted. Yeah, if you guys were unaware, I went to the movies this week. And like usually when I leave the house is I have a touch of the agoraphobia. So I don't leave the house too much. And like if I leave the house, the next couple of days I feel like complete and total garbage. And that's where I am right now. Yep, I went to the movies, and now for the last few days, I felt like complete and total trash. so, so how are you doing? I guess everybody, how you guys are? Everybody doing okay? I hope. I'm Tasha. Just in case you didn't, this is like your first time here. Hey, I'm Tasha, and this is my little show. It's called After the Snap. And if you enjoy After the Snap, after you sit here and, commiserate with us a little bit or watch it on the rebroadcast, if that's what you like to do, please do me the honor of subscribing to my channel, turning your notifications on so you know when I do these live streams or when I put up a video. I've been dabbling in the shorts. So shorts have been appearing at least 4 times a week, at least. I'm not going to say every day because sometimes like today, I don't think I've uploaded anything. I've been working on a video. And the video that I am in the process of working on is in response to James Gunn, the new co-CEO of DC Studios. James Gunn got on our social media site Mastodon and asked the fans. I said Mastodon. Nope, I didn't say Twitter. I didn't say Instagram. I didn't say Facebook. I didn't say none of that. I said Mastodon. He got on Mastodon and he asked the fandom over there which superheroes or which DC characters would they like to see adapted for the big screen. And I'm like, oh, since you asked, James Gunn, since you asked, let me loosen up so I can tell you. So my video will be coming out that is talking about 10 characters that I like to see adapted for the big screen, but I'm going to do the first 5 as my bench because y'all know I'm a basketball girl. So the first 5 is my bench. And then the second 5 is my starters. So the first video you guys will see will be the bench team who I'd like to see come out on DC on the big screen. So anywho, if you look down in the show notes, you will see, or in the description box, whatever you're calling it nowadays, you'll see a lot of ways that you can get in contact with me and also ways that you can support the show. So if you'd like to support the show financially, there are ways down there. I'm not going to bother you too much with talking about it right now, but it's there if you like to do that. And also, if you like to send me an email or hit me on Discord or any other things, then all of that is there. You can even leave me a voice message on Anchor. I got to do things for Anchor too. Anywho, I've waited long enough. Doesn't look like I'm going to get too much, but again, this is what happens when you do some impromptu stuff. Gosh, and I feel like crap. So, you guys know that weekly I do the weekly wrap up box office top 5, and this week is no different. So we're going to take a slight little show break, and then I'm going to start that weekly wrap up box office top 5.
Welcome to the After the Snap Weekly Wrap-Up Box Office Top 5 for November 11th through 13th.
Number 5, and just edging out Pray for the Devil at $2.33 million in its utterly ridiculous 7th week on the box office top 5, Smile from Paramount. Number 4, making a return trip to the box office top 5, coming in at $3.2 million, Lyle Loud Crocodile in its 6th week of wide release. Number 3, in its 4th week on the box office top 5 at $6.1 million, coming from Universal, Ticket to Paradise. Number 2, coming from New Line in its 4th week on the box office top 5, finally being unseated from its number 1 position in its 4th week, is Black Adam at $8.6 million. And as expected, coming in with a new November record for the biggest opening weekend is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever from Disney/Marvel. This one came in at a whopping $181 million. So just to repeat that top 5, number 5, Smile from Paramount. Number 4, Lyle Loud Crocodile from Sony. Number 3, Ticket to Paradise, Universal. Number 2, Black Adam, New Line. And number 1 in its first week at the box office, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever from Disney. And if you remember correctly, last week I gave you guys some predictions. And of those predictions, 3 came to pass. And there was a big reason for that. The movies that I suggested would be on the top 5 for this week, such as Pinocchio and The Fabelmans, both of those movies had limited releases. So we saw some old faithfuls still hanging out on our box office top 5 in Smile, in Lyle Loud Crocodile. I figured Ticket to Paradise and Black Adam would still be hanging around. The other 2 were surprises for me because I forgot that those movies were going to have a limited release and not a wide release. So, I was wrong. I expect Black Panther Wakanda Forever to continue to hang out at number 1. I can almost see any of the movies underneath it being unseated, but you tell me what you think. What's going to happen with next week's box office? Do you think Black Panther Wakanda Forever will still be hanging out in the top spot, or do you think something will unseat it in its 2nd week? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. This has been Tasha Pierce with the weekly wrap-up box office top 5. All right, and that was our box office top 5. You know, it was as expected. Pretty much those top 3 spots we had. Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which the ridiculous amount of money that it made was a November record at $181 million. Then we had Black Adam following that up in its 4th week. It's still in the upper 5 with $8.6 million. And that Ticket to Paradise was the 3rd movie, followed by Lyle Loud Crocodile and Smile. It sounded like I was rapping, didn't it? Tell the truth. Sound like I was rapping. So things happen as we expected them to happen. Am I right? So before I start pushing into talking about my initial thoughts, because I'm going to share that little video snippet also, my initial thoughts of Wakanda Forever. Before we do that, I am also going to talk about Kevin Conroy, the passing of Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman. It took me by complete surprise. I had no idea that he was terminally ill. Now, there was a lot of talk earlier this year, and I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months ago, he kind of came out to his DC fans, and I'm thinking to myself, it's a shame that we still they go their entire life hiding that part of them. That's got to be the most difficult thing to do in the world. Kevin Conroy, prior to his passing, did marry his now husband, and I'm glad that he was able to live his life in a very public manner, the same way everybody else does. There should be no we don't want to see that in the Batman community. That hopefully nobody gave him the impression that he had to um, hide that aspect of his being. But Kevin Conroy did pass away on November 10th. And I mean, it was like I came in from seeing Wakanda Forever because I did go to the Thursday screening. And as I was sitting down and getting things prepared to put my little video together, I started seeing the news of his passing, and it was just heartbreaking. Just heartbreaking. Yeah, Clarence, he came out. As a matter of fact, he came out in comic form. That comic is available, and I wish I could. I think it's on DC Universe. I'm going to take a look at that as we are going through and seeing my top 5 Batman the animated series episodes. I did a little video that was my tribute to Kevin Conroy. It was so heartbreaking. I'm telling you, I cried, and I still every time I'm talking about it, I feel like I'm tearing up because, gosh, he gave me so many years of joy of being a Batman fan. And I mean, even though he came to be in Batman, the voice of Batman, by the time he became the voice of Batman, I was an adult already. I was already a grown woman, but I didn't have a son yet. But I thought, wow, this is like right up my alley. And that series was so well done, at least the first 2 seasons. Then it started diving into, I'm not going to talk bad about the series. We're here to celebrate the life of Kevin Conroy. We're going to do a little show break just so I know where to cut things if I want to share this later in cuts. And then we will get right into Batman, the animated series, top 5 episodes according to Tosh. So stick with me. I'm a little late with my Kevin Conroy tribute because this is a tribute that I wish I didn't have to make. I kind of wish that he was still here with us. Unfortunately, Kevin Conroy lost his battle with intestinal cancer on November 10th, 2022. He was 55 years old. So in honor of Kevin Conroy, I will be telling you the After the Snap top 5 Batman the Animated Series episodes.
Number 5. Heart of Ice Season 1 Episode 14. Bitter scientist Victor Freeze, as Mr. Freeze, attacks several divisions of GothCorp, each time stealing a piece for a secret weapon he intends to build. Batman investigates the connections and discovers that the start of Freeze's vendetta against GothCorp was a bitter falling out between Freeze and GothCorp CEO, Ferris Boyle, during which Boyle almost killed Victor, mutating him into Mr. Freeze, and presumably killed Victor's terminally ill wife, Nora. Batman must find a way to bring Boyle to justice before Mr. Freeze carries out his revenge. Number 4. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? Season 1 Episode 40. Edward Nygma creates the video game The Riddle of the Minotaur for the company Patron, but his superior Daniel Mockridge fires him after Edward sues Mockridge for royalties. Nygma vows revenge, and takes up the mantle of the Riddler. While Batman sympathizes with Edward, he and Robin find themselves forced to stop the Riddler before he kills Mockridge in a life-sized version of the Minotaur maze. Despite successfully rescuing Mockridge, who completed a deal to move his company to Gotham, the incident leaves him in a permanent PTSD-type all-consuming fear of Riddler's return for revenge. Number 3. Two-Face Parts 1 and 2. Season 1 Episodes 10 and 11. Mobster Rupert Thorne attempts to use Harvey Dent's secret split personality to blackmail him. But when Dent meets with Thorne at a chemical plant, Big Bad Harv takes over, and the resulting confrontation leads to an explosion that horribly scars half of Dent's face and his entire body. Later, Harvey Dent, now calling himself Two-Face, resurfaces and starts robbing Rupert Thorne's illegal businesses, preparing for a final confrontation with the crime boss, and Batman must stop his former friend before he and Thorne kill each other. Number 2. Feet of Clay Parts 1 and 2. Season 1 Episodes 20 and 21. Bruce Wayne is framed for the attempted murder of Lucius Fox. The real perpetrator is an actor and master of disguise named Matt Hagen, who was disfigured in a car accident years ago. In order to keep his fame, he secretly started working for Roland Daggett, who provides him with a monthly supply of an addictive face cream known as Renew You, a pun on Renew You, that can temporarily reshape his face back to normal, and who wants to take Wayne Enterprises over for marketing expansion. For botching the murder due to Batman's interference, Hagen's supply is cut off, and when he breaks into Daggett's lab for more Renew You, he pays the price dearly when Daggett's men drench his face in the formula and force him to swallow liters of it to avoid drowning. Meanwhile, Bruce Wayne is arrested and taken into custody, charged with the assault on Fox. Bruce Wayne is released from prison on bail. Hagen, as it turns out, survived the murder attempt on him, but at a high cost. The formula entered his body and soaked every single one of his cells, turning him into a shape-shifting mutant. With his newfound powers, Hagen, now calling himself Clayface, decides to take his revenge on Daggett and his men, and Batman must bring Daggett to justice and stop Clayface before innocent people are hurt.
And my absolute favorite episode of Batman TAS and yearly tradition. Number 1. Christmas with the Joker. Season 1 Episode 2. After escaping Arkham Asylum on Christmas Eve, the Joker takes over Gotham's airwaves and terrorizes the city. He challenges Batman and Robin to find his hidden TV studio and free his hostages, Commissioner Gordon, Detective Bullock and Summer Gleason, before midnight.
Just to recap that top 5. Number 5. Heart of Ice. Number 4. If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Rich? Number 3. Two-Face Parts 1 and 2. Number 2. Feet of Clay Parts 1 and 2. And number 1. Christmas with the Joker. Thank you, Mr. Conroy, for over 30 years of some of the best voice acting ever. You are Batman. Rest in paradise. Share your thoughts in the comments, and this has been Tasha Pierce with another After the Snap Short Snap.
And that was my top 5 Batman the Animated Series episodes as a tribute, my tribute to what I'm going to remember Kevin Conroy the most for, which is the excellent work he gave us as the Dark Knight. He was the gold standard of how to portray this character. And this was even before I'd ever seen his face. Gosh, he's truly going to be missed. I'm truly, truly saddened by that, by his passing. So do you guys have any, if you're watching on the rebroadcast or if you're live with me, do you have any favorite episodes of Batman the Animated Series? I'd like to hear them. You can put that down in the comments or the chat. And now, I could go into Wakanda Forever, but before I do that, the episode of Star Trek Prodigy, though. Look, I am a serious Star Trek fan, and there is a certain way, an eloquent way of doing fan service, and then there is the bludgeoning that we get in other ways that we've seen it done. When I speak of eloquent fan service, Star Trek Prodigy just has it right. They just do it right. We saw that with the Time Amok episode. Well, not Time Amok. What was the episode with Dal getting on Kobayashi Maru? Yeah, Kobayashi Maru. So that episode was done so very well. And then we got this last week's episode, All the World's a Stage. They did such a phenomenal job of working in Star Trek references without putting the gloves on and just beating us up. I really, really have been enjoying the Star Trek Prodigy series first and foremost, but secondly, the way that they are handling the delicate parts of reminding us started. Claire says he hates that he wasn't allowed to watch it while it aired, but his voice is the Batman that he hears in his head. Me too. And again, I was grown by this time. I think, I might have had some problems if I was a little younger in the household that I kind of came up in. But I was an adult, and man, I still watched it. I watched it like I had a child. And then when I had a child, I have even more of an excuse for watching Batman the animated series. Also, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Kevin Conroy is just they cast a voice actor who not only voiced Batman, but he embodied the personality through his voice. You felt the anguish, you felt the being pulled in two different directions in his voice performances. And I know it sounds crazy for me to be waxing poetic over animation the way that I do. As a damn near 50-year-old, I'm like 2 months away from being 50. So, but Batman, the animated series, was a staple for any Batman fan. If you are truly a Batman fan, that is one of the, I guess that is one of the performances that you just know gets it. Oh God, Clarence, and I'm because that's another thing. As I'm talking about animated series, and I'm waxing poetic about another one, which is Star Trek Prodigy. I didn't allow myself it's not because I've got so much restraint, Clarence. It's because my grandson keeps me from doing an awful lot of the stuff that I used to would have been doing. I didn't go down that rabbit hole because I did go to thinking like, okay, how did that shuttle get there? And I know that feeling like I know the creators of Star Trek Prodigy, we're going to find out. We might not find out this season, but we are going to find out how that shuttle got on that planet. And I am excited to find out the backstory of that. They would not have introduced that shuttle if they were not going to come back and give us some more story. Did you find anything, Clarence? Was there anything that made you say, oh, this is how it happened? And yeah, so let me know if you found anything that says, yeah, I got it. This is where it could have gone or how it could have gotten here. Because I have no clue. Truly, really and truly. And usually by now I will have watched that episode Obsession that we saw that ensign in, and I forgot his name, Gavorican or Girakin or something like that. He was in an episode of the original series called Obsession. I have not yet gone back and watched that episode again to kind of kickstart my memory as to what really went on in that episode. But yeah, I haven't figured it out yet. And I probably won't until my grandson gets at least to be like 1. I got a few months for that. Yeah, I got at least 9 months before I can say, okay, he's 1 year old. You know, he's a little more predictable. This kid is unpredictable. Gosh. So yeah, Clarence hasn't gotten anything definitive yet either. I am itching to get into the lab to figure out exactly how that happened. But just going into Clarence, yes, watch the episode Obsession. I have not yet done it myself, so hopefully you don't beat me to it, but that is the episode Obsession. That is the episode that the ensign that was mentioned in this episode, this is where the first time we saw him in the original series. And I think we only saw him one time in the original series. But yeah, watch that episode. And then I'm going to watch it too. And hopefully I might be able to extrapolate something out of that episode so that we can get a little closer to the riddle. What did you think, Clarence, since I got you here? What did you think of Janeway? And did Janeway jump into the conclusion that that empty escape pod, the person who blew up the relay station also has the person who was in this escape pod, and therefore that's the same person who did this to the diviner? Even though all of these things might be true, is she jumping to a sinister conclusion rather quickly. Is that Janeway? Is that her personality? A little part of me says, this is a different Janeway. This is a more weathered, a more tenured Janeway. This is somebody who's a little bit more removed from the Janeway that we knew in the Delta Quadrant. But is she that different? Or is it simply because she's being blinded by the fact that this is her friend who's missing? That it's Chakotay, and now she's got blinders on. She doesn't see the big picture. All she sees is we need to get to Chakotay. You said you hated Obsession. It's the episode when Kirk was hell-bent on killing this cloud. I don't remember. I'm going to have to watch it. And I've watched these episodes so many times you would think that I would remember. I don't remember him trying to kill the cloud. Maybe I didn't like it either. Maybe that's why it's not there. It's not there. I'm watching it tonight because usually, speaking of Batman, because this is like a conversation that can go full circle. I've introduced my grandson, and he's 3 months old now, so he ain't understanding nothing. But he does like colors, and he likes foolishness on screen. So I introduced him to the late 60s Batman, the campy Batman, Adam West. And that's our nightly routine. We watch Batman. So tonight we're going to shake that routine up. Tonight I'm going to have him watching Star Trek, the original series. Clarence Hugh says, I agree with the latter about Chakotay, but she is completely in the dark about what's going on. She is. She has there's no context for her. So I understand it. I'm just like, okay, let's get to it, y'all. And I really want the diviner to show his true colors, like immediately, because I'm ready to see Janeway now, how she will react knowing that he is the sinister one. He's the one with the agenda. And as a matter of fact, everything about her and Starfleet he hates. So I want to see how that plays out. So that episode of Star Trek Prodigy was beautiful, perfect. I cannot imagine another. I can't imagine fan service being done any better than what we saw with that episode. So, and then hopefully, demand will make us revisit this subject, because I really do want to spend more time talking about it. But I know that most of the people who want to hear or see anything right now is really about that Wakanda Forever. So Wakanda Forever spoilers are on the way. Please do not come into the chat. And if you are not expecting spoilers, of course, you wouldn't hear that right now if you weren't. So please just be careful, tread very carefully. We're about to get into Wakanda Forever spoilers. The spoiler warning is on the bottom of the screen. So if you come here, I might spoil something for you. But before I spoil anything for you, I am going to share my quick right out of the theater thoughts with you. Hopefully you haven't already seen it. I know, Clarence, I'm doing an awful lot of jumping back and forth to video, but there is a method to my madness. So we're going to go with a break, and then we're going to come back straight with my thoughts of Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Welcome to the After the Snap Weekly Wrap-Up Box Office Top 5 for November.
Come with me to the movies. I've got my white on because the Wakandans honor the dead with white attire. I've got my movie purse, and I'm guessing you know why. The only thing missing is you. I love my local AMC. Let's get to our seat before the trailers. Don't worry, we've got popcorn. I ordered ahead. It'll be delivered to our favorite seat in about 10 minutes. popcorn has arrived. The trailers give me some films to look forward to, specifically John Wick 4 and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, it's time to settle in for Wakanda Forever. Phones off, no talking.
Yeah, the right out of the theater review, this thing was fantastic. I don't know what these people talking about who said they didn't like it. They need to kiss my butt. But yeah, I think you guys are going to enjoy it. It doesn't seem like a movie that I'm going to keep repeating, going to see like I did the first one, but it was definitely enjoyable. So, catch you guys later for a longer review. Peace. Okay, so that was my right out of the theater thoughts of Wakanda Forever. And I didn't spoil anything in that little snippet. Now, things that I say from this point on could jump into spoiler territory. Besides the fact that it was a heartbreaking movie. Man, I had no idea. Okay, so jumping right from the beginning. Right from the beginning, we see Shuri frantically. Number one, Shuri is a lot like me in this kind of thing. You just think like she is so science-minded that she has stopped believing in the religion of her people. So she is praying to Bast because she's like, look, please, Bast, I know that I be around here talking about how I don't believe in you, but if you help me save my brother, I promise you, I'll be different. And her prayer was not answered. As she was frantically trying to find a cure to save T'Challa from this mystery illness, then she learns from her mom that he is with the ancestors. And Lord have mercy. That was just so sad. Just a sad, it's just an overwhelming feeling of now we know how they pulled this into the story. We know that, yes, in this, we're not putting it on any supernatural influence or any battle or where he was fighting and lost. He got sick, which is something that can happen to anybody. And it is what happened to Chadwick Boseman in all reality. So this is something that that answered that question for a lot of us. They go into this moment of silence with the intro card for the Marvel Studios logo. That was beautiful. I had already seen it, so that was kind of spoiled for me, but it was wonderful. We got that moment of silence. We move to now this movie has turned into Awake, where we have seen let me see. Hey, Lysandra, how goes it? And Clarence is agreeing. Those the scenes of Shuri attempting to save her brother was very difficult to watch. We got the wake kind of feeling where we are all there to celebrate the life of T'Challa, and then we push forward a year later, where we still see Shuri doing what a lot of people do, which is immersing themselves in their work when they are grieving. And that it was an amazing movie, Lysandra. Yes. But yeah, so Lysandra, when did you get the green thing? When did you become a subscriber? Did you join? I appreciate it. I didn't know you were there, darling. Thank you. Yes, Clarence, and this is something that a lot of people what you're saying, the sentiment that you are sharing here, being a superstar, just like being a superhero, didn't save him. We're all human, even our stars or heroes. Absolutely. And I find myself, and I like to argue on social media in my spare time. And there were people who were like, how would you get sick with the heart-shaped herb? Well, we saw it twice in this movie, right? We saw T'Challa, who had the heart-shaped herb, get sick and pass away. And we saw, what's his name? Namor. We saw his mother pass away. She had taken the heart-shaped herb. All of the Talakil had taken the heart-shaped herb. So that is not, hey there, David. Look, I got all of my friends in the house. So yeah, all of them had taken the heart-shaped herb. People do get sick and pass away. And T'Challa kept his illness a secret, and we moved, into now the family and everybody else is trying to move on. And the people who adhere to the beliefs that death is just a stepping stone, that the next step is going into the ancestral plane, they say that their dead this is not final for them. There's a jump. This is just a jumping off point. So they are comforted by their belief. Shuri doesn't get that comfort because she no longer holds those beliefs. So her and her mother decide we need to go on this trip together to kind of show Shuri a technique of getting past her grief, but it still would rely on her having faith in their God. And she said, look, I ain't got faith in nothing. If I get past this, what it's going to make me want to do is burn the world down. And as soon as she says, I would burn the world down, here come the more sexy, but I'm coming all about the water. So he comes out of the water and he wants to know if he can count on the Wakandans helping him keep basically colonizers away from their vibranium, because they have a source of vibranium in the ocean. The Wakandans have a source of vibranium on land, and there are people out there who will stop at nothing to get this vibranium. We've already seen it once in this episode where they came and where we're trying to steal the vibranium, and the Doras put them things on them and took them to the UN. Like, these are y'all people coming and thinking that we're weak because our protector has died. These are your people coming here trying to take advantage of us. Next time, we're not going to be so diplomatic in the way we handle this. This time we're bringing them to you. Next time, you might have to pick up the pieces. So I enjoyed that. Angela Bassett gave us a master class on how to, how to navigate being, let me see, let me make sure that I'm not, everybody knows this is spoilers. I haven't moved the spoiler warning. Angela Bassett gave us a master class on how to convey the fact, even though she says she finds comfort in her faith, she still grieves. And the reason why is made very clear that she still grieves, because when Okoye messed around and lost her baby over there in that water, she was like, basically, you got your husband. You can go see him whenever you want. My family is gone. I've got nothing. And this is not the first time she's been in that position, right? She was strong when her husband passed. Then we know that both of her children were snapped away. She was the only one left to run Wakanda when T'Challa and Shuri were both snapped away. She had no idea that her babies were coming back. Then her babies come back, and then one of her babies dies. Now she got nothing left but Shuri. And you mean to tell me you lost my baby? She went in, and it was very convincing to me. It was not overacted. I did feel the emotionality. You didn't love the Okoye arc. I think that there is more to that arc, Clarence, because remember, there was it had been said or rumored that we're getting an Okoye series on Disney Plus. So if we're getting that series on Disney Plus, I think it's going. I think it's going to dive a little bit deeper into what was going on with Okoye. Okoye feels like she has been a failure as well. Because what is her purpose? What is her point? Her whole purpose, her whole point is to protect the royal family, and she has not been able to do that. She is the general of the Doras, and King T'Chaka was killed. Not on her watch. The Black Panther was there with him, but she, if she's figured like, if I was there, maybe I could do something. I could have done something. I could have made something else happen. Then you lose T'Challa, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Remember, she thought she lost them to Killmonger in the first movie. Then she thought, well, she did. He was dusted away, and then he died for real. Now she's got 2 to protect, and she's not batting 1,000. She's just not batting 1,000 and protecting the monarchs. It was, Claire says it was leaning on something of the side of you're doing too much in this film. And I think, I hope that I'm reading it right, where she should, unless it's something else that you are talking about, but she should have been, because she hasn't been the best in her mind. If it were me, I would think I haven't been the best protector of this family, that this is my entire life is supposed to be, to protect this family, and they keep dying on me. T'Challa. Ramonda, she lost Shuri. All of these things, it's like, yeah, I think I would be, I'd be a little extra too. But if that's not what you are talking about, then I didn't get a feeling, I didn't get a vibe off of her. I loved Riri. Why can't I say that? I loved Riri Williams, absolutely, especially the fact that she brings a female Killmonger to the squad. She is Eric, but she is female. She's not mean, and she's not as jaded as Killmonger, but she's coming from the same place, from the shy. Then you got her relationship with Shuri, and how they handle being 2 intelligent Black women from very different places with very different backgrounds. I enjoyed it. Okay. So Claire says he gets it, but to him it was just one too many things going on. Now, where I can agree with that is I didn't think. Now, if I'm pretty sure that there is a real world reason why Ramonda dies. It could be possibly be that Angela Bassett's contract was up and she no longer was interested in continuing it. Or a number of reasons. Could have been a number of reasons. But I felt like, okay, now shoot, how much pain can one person take? Shuri has lost it all since we've known her. We met her in Black Panther. She had just lost her dad. Then she lost her brother. Then she gets thrown into the mix of the Infinity War. Then she's gone. Then by the time she comes back, you lose everything else in one movie. A lot happened to Shuri. And it could be, and I don't know, it could be them showing that because she lost faith, that this is something that happened because she lost faith? Or is this just happening and this is what happens to bring her back to her faith? I don't know. I didn't watch Nope. Okay. Oh, you're not seeing Clarence, David? I'm putting him up here. He's not in on YouTube. He is using Twitch. Yeah. So you say you liked Riri, but it was almost too much like Keke Palmer. Nope, I didn't see Nope. Ramonda's death was needed to get Shuri to a better place. I mean, it took Ramonda's death for her to accept the vengeance part of her, to get past that, because it's a cycle. And some people stay in one part of the cycle, or the stages of death or stages of grief, for longer than they stay in others. And she didn't hang out in vengeance for long, but while she was there, while she was in the vengeance state, I think a lot of lessons got learned, because vengeance led to death for Killmonger. Vengeance would have led to death for T'Challa in Civil War, but he learned his lesson in that movie. She had to learn her lesson in this movie, that seeking out to exact revenge is a consuming, all-consuming disease. Revenge is a disease, and she learned that lesson almost too late. I thought Shuri was a goner when she got stabbed with impaled with that pole. I thought she was done. And okay, so now I'm going to talk about and Clarence says that one hurt. Yeah, it hurt because it was a selfless act on her behalf. She could have survived and Riri would have died, but she protected that baby. Twice in that one little sequence, we saw her step between Riri and certain death for Riri. She stood between Riri when Namor came and hit the glass with his vibranium spear, before he decided, I'm gonna throw these water grenades at the window. She stood between, she had Riri get behind her, and then they got blown away. She saved her again at the cost of her own life. I didn't think that we were going to see Ramonda die, but then, okay, because she didn't burn her funeral clothes, she still had them to put on, talking Shuri, for yet another flipping funeral. Yes. We saw her change from Killmonger to Chadwick's Black Panther. Exactly. And I'm talking, when she said she wanted to set the world on fire, and then she goes to the ancestral plane and the first thing she saw was fire, I was like, oh, that's not what I expected. She set the world on fire. And then who else set the world on fire, or who else was willing to? Killmonger. Here we get that cameo that we expected. A lot of people expected to see him in this movie. They expected to see him come back as the Black Panther, which in a lot of ways, they did see him come back as the Black Panther, but in Shuri's form. Shuri had adopted his outlook, and she came back from the ancestral plane very much influenced by Killmonger. So you really and truly, you did see him come back. It's just in the form of Shuri. And then she took on, when her mother says, show him who we are, then we saw her become her brother. And everything, I was kind of hoping, when she was thinking in her mind and everything that happened, like, went back and rewound to the moment that she hugged her brother after he came in. I think he was coming back from the funeral. I think it was after the dad's funeral. She came back and she was hugging her brother. She came all the way back to that point. I was thinking to myself, was this all like, did this all happen in her head? But no, it was true. It all happened. Broke my heart that this all happened, because now we've got a very broken person in Shuri, come full circle, and coming full circle made her at least have to acknowledge the fact or embrace the fact that she was in the world alone now, at least until the mid-credit scene. She's in the world alone. There's nobody else who shares her bloodline. I was a little confused about the end of the movie, and that's what I was talking about, Clarence, when I said there was something that left me a little confused, and I might still be a touch confused, even though I did watch Eric Voss explain what the heck happened in that final scene. But before I move on, I'm going to pick up your comment here. You said, what do you think about the choice to withhold who is the next Black Panther until the movie aired? And see, I don't think they withheld it. I think they showed us who was the next Black Panther. They put it right in the trailer. They had her there with the dots and everything. So, even though, of course, a person like me is going to try to figure out and make it more elaborate than what it was, but it was really quite simply there. It was there. We all knew that this was a female form. She had the same dots as Shuri, and this is the Black Panther. So, for people who wanted it their own way, I would think that it was a smart decision. So Clarence says he didn't like that they made it a mystery. It bogged down the film for him. Only thing I thought is that I was going to see more than one Black Panther. I thought that more than one of them was going to be in the suit. And I knew one of them would be Shuri. Losing my voice. Great. Yeah, I knew one of them at least was going to be Shuri. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm feeling like they didn't outright say it, but they really alluded to the fact that it was going to be Shuri. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of infighting in the fandom, because a lot of people are giving this movie bad reviews because they didn't want it to be Shuri. They wanted them to recast T'Challa. And technically, they did. Technically, they did recast T'Challa. Now, when are we going to see T'Challa again? I don't know. I feel like it's going to be sooner than we think, because we got a 7-year-old T'Challa. We know he's got to get a little older than that. I think it's going to be sooner than we think because of the time travel shenanigans and timeline shenanigans that could be introduced by Kang the Conqueror. Of course, again, I often think of the most elaborate ways that things can happen. So, yeah, the months of no trailer built up the hype. Yes. Now, you mean, was that T'Challa's real son, or was that Chadwick's real son? I don't think Chadwick's Boseman. I don't think he had any children. And he had really just gotten married to the wife. He wasn't even married very long before he passed. So I don't think that was his real child. But in the movie, yes, I do believe that in the interim time between Chadwick or T'Challa coming back from being snapped away. Okay, so before the snap, long before the snap, I believe he and Nakia, got it on, and she got pregnant. And then he gets snapped away, and she couldn't take it. She was pregnant when he got snapped away, and she couldn't take it in being in Wakanda. She left and went to Haiti, where she had her baby. That's why nobody at home knew she had a baby, because she left before she was even showing. She went to Haiti, she had the baby, and then she, she decided, it wasn't even her deciding. He came back from being snapped away. The first thing he thought is, I have to go and find my baby, not his baby, the son, because he didn't know about him. He wanted to find Nakia. So he comes back from being snapped away. He fights in the Endgame war, and then he went to see Nakia, and he finds out he has the son, and he's like, look, I'm sick. Don't bring my baby to Wakanda, because they're going to immediately put his ass on the throne, and I do not want that to happen to him. He does, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and he did not want his son to go through that. Yes, the kid did look like Chadwick Clarence. He was so cute and dark and chocolatey, and had that little dimple. He was so cute. It was good casting. I'm wondering how they're gonna age him up, because it's gonna have to happen. We're not gonna wait. We're not about to wait 15 years to see that child turn into T'Challa. To T'Challa, who is going to be the next, who got next in the MCU as the Black Panther. It was good casting. What I was confused about was the end of the movie. Okay, we see the plane come at the coronation for the next ruler of Wakanda. We think that Shuri is going to come out of this plane, and it is M'Baku. And M'Baku says, I'm here to challenge for the throne. Even though he knew, he's on the plane, he knew Shuri wasn't there, so he knew that he was not going to have to fight her for the throne. In fact, her not showing up says that she doesn't want the throne, right? So does that mean that she's going to stay the Black Panther and he is just going to be king until such a time that somebody else can take the throne? Explain that to me, because I was a little confused by what I was seeing there. Like, will somebody, like if somebody that was there said, okay, I want to challenge you, and they beat him, are we going to see M'Baku be the king, or did somebody else beat him, or what? Why was that a place to end for that? Okay, so I know that was a lot for me to just to talk about what I didn't understand. I just didn't get that. I didn't get it. I enjoyed Riri. Let me see what else I enjoyed. Oh man, Namor. Gosh. First and foremost, I thought Namor was kind of falling in love with Shuri. I thought that he kind of, was trying to holler. He takes her down there and gets her this gear, the beautiful outfit that is traditional clothing for Talokan, and then he gives her his mama's bracelet, even though they had already come to the conclusion that we are not about to be on the same side. When I go back home, there is going to be a war, and somebody going to have to lose. Which one, Clarence? You said it felt like a moment of keeping tradition. The fact that she is of the royal lineage and she doesn't want the throne, so he has to go there and just fight anybody who wants it. I'm guessing that's what it is. And also, yeah, so I was getting romantic vibes off of Namor and Shuri. And then especially at the end, after she spared his life and they come to this truce, and he goes back to Talokan, and he's like painting a picture of him and her on the wall. Even I guess it might have been more or less like, I'd have been alive for 500 years, and this chick gave me the business. She could have killed me, and she didn't. Now, that could be just it. He just out of respect. Or has he gotten so much respect that it's almost affection for Shuri? So that was my, that was a thought that I had. Again, we talked about the mid-credit scene when Nakia brings out young T'Challa, and now we know that Shuri is not alone in the world. She does have a blood relative. She might want to stick around Haiti. And like she said, her brother taught her everything that she knows about science. She may want to train him in everything that she knows about science. And, I guess going back to what Clarence says, but it's just like talking about something entirely different. It felt like a moment of keeping tradition. So yeah, I I truly enjoyed it. This was like a easy no brainer, a 5 movie for me, and I think the formidable nature of Namor and his army. And I think in the next time we see Namor, we're going to see a little pushback from some of his warriors, because Namora, the chick at the end, Namora, she had a problem. She had a problem with them giving up. So I can see maybe them seeing themselves like, this is supposed to be a god to us. He gave up to uh, this their protector. He's supposed to be our protector and a god. Why would he give up? So I have a feeling that we may see them try to a coup, basically. How did I feel about Riri being ungodly smart? I felt like that's in keeping with the character in the comic books. So it did keep with that, that she was super smart, and that I think it's just another smart black chick in the MCU. I actually think that if she was raised in Wakanda alongside Shuri, that she would be the smartest person in that country. And I hope that they don't dumb her down at any time. In now moving forward, we can't dumb her down. She has to stay this smart or smarter. Yeah, she is. If she was, the only thing that makes Shuri smarter is the advanced technology that she has. Shuri is more, has access to more than what Riri has. Lysandra says, I can honestly say it did not seem this movie was over 2 hours long. It had my attention from beginning to end. Going to see it again this weekend. And David says Riri is a unique and fascinating character. All of that, everything that y'all just said. I'm not going back to the movies. I just can't. I can't, because it's not a movie I'm going to keep going to see at the theater. I might watch it again a time or two on Disney Plus. I would have to be further along in my own, and I know y'all say your father been gone a year. I'm still hurting. And anytime I see something like that, it hurts. So while they got the happy ending, gosh, it hurt. You missed my box office. The box office was bananas. It still didn't do better than Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. However, you got to think Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a summer movie. Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out in November. It does have the highest November box office of all time at $181 million. Now, Lysandra brought to my attention something that I was unaware of, and that is that in some places, they were overselling. The theaters were overbooking the theaters. So they were overbooking the screenings. So when people were getting to the movie, they had already bought their ticket in advance ticket sales. When they were getting to the movies, their seats were gone. The theaters had double booked. I don't know how that happens. I still haven't seen myself how this can occur, how I can purchase my ticket ahead of time. Because when we purchase our tickets ahead of time, and I'm going to, I guess at this point, pull up AMC, the theater that I go to all the time. Let me do that. Let me do that. And I will share this with you all. Okay. So this is my theater, AMC Spring 10. Let's go to the movies. Let's go see a movie. We're gonna go see Wakanda Forever. We're going to nope. I want to get tickets. So we'll go to the 10 o'clock. These are the shows that usually have a lot of seats left, the late ones. 10 o'clock show. Clarence, I went at 6:15 p.m. They started showing Wakanda Forever at 3. The only I couldn't go at 3 because I still had the baby. But I went at 6:15. Yeah. So let's make this bigger. Where you see the gray field, that means those seats are taken already. Everything around that seat, everything else is fair game, right? And I don't know if so. All of these seats are fair game. When I choose a seat, it turns red. I can continue. When I buy that seat, because you see it's $12.39. When I buy that seat, it turns gray. You shouldn't be able to sell that seat again. So I cannot understand how the theater was able to double book seats when people are buying their tickets ahead of time. It doesn't look like you should be able to do it. I mean, now this is AMC. There are other theaters, and they may have a different way of doing things. But even if you're buying a ticket for a screening that is you're buying it advance, you can't buy advance tickets for a theater that doesn't let you reserve your seats. So I can't understand how that happened, but Lysandra did bring to my attention that it did happen, so that many people were seeking refunds for their tickets because the theaters that they went to were double booked. It's just the strangest thing. So it makes me feel like the weekend could have been stronger. I can't say that it would have been $20 million stronger, but it could have been stronger, So as far as the box office is concerned, $181 million is nothing to sneeze at, especially in November. The opening night with the Thursday preview screenings going into Friday was $84 million. The rest of the week, the 100 plus million was spread over the Saturday and Sunday screenings. So I think it was pretty successful rollout. Worldwide is already at $330 million. This thing had a $250 million budget, which means we've already made back our budget. We are, I think maybe next week and the week before, next week and the week after, between those 2 weeks, we will be well into just clean profit. There will be nothing else. Let me see. David says, I've been to music shows that were double booked. They count on people not to show. That's ridiculous. I've been on, the more I think about it, I've been on planes that have been double booked. Lysandra and I, when we went on a vacation together. Where did we go? To the Bahamas. We went on a vacation together, and on our way back, they had sold too many tickets. They had sold more tickets than they had seats on the plane. So I can see how it happens. I don't understand how. I don't understand why you would try, especially when it's automated like this and you have to choose a seat. You got to choose a seat to get a ticket. I don't get it. Clara says it's rigged, just like the voting system. And he quickly says, I'm kidding, because we all know that things, people will use rigged as an excuse for almost anything. It's rigged. Everything's rigged. Life is rigged. Kanye West, for example. But anywho, everything is rigged. So yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was easily a 5. I did a tier list, my all MCU Phase 4 tier list. Like to hear it? Here it go.
After the Snaps Phase 4, all MCU tier list. This list is ranking, not rating, and solely my opinion. Tier 1. Hawkeye, Black Widow, Thor, Love and Thunder. Tier 2. Werewolf by Night. Tier 3. Doctor Strange, Eternals, What If, She-Hulk, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Tier 4. Shang-Chi, Moon Knight. And, the best of Phase 4, Tier 5. Spider-Man, No Way Home. WandaVision, Loki, Ms. Marvel, and Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. How would you rank Phase 4? Sound off in the comments. And this has been another After the Snap Short Snap.
So that was my Phase 4 tier list. Keep your eyes up, and I'm going to do the Phase 1 and Phase 2 and Phase 3 as well. This is, I just, yeah, it's like, it sounds fun to do a tier list, and then I will do the entire MCU, but you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we've talked about this Wakanda Forever. We might still talk spoilers. If you guys got anything else that you want to add to the Wakanda Forever conversation, but this was by special request. This next conversation is the next best thing, Avatar, The Way of Water. David wants to know like what the deal is with this movie. And so one of the things that I'm going to, you know, there's not a lot known. James Cameron has kept a lot of what this movie is about very, very, very close to his chest. He's not putting out an awful lot. Just what you see in the trailers, right? What was I going to say? I do know certain things that is like making me so happy that we are getting a lot of the original actors back, and then we are getting some new ones. So we're getting Sam Worthington back, Zoe Saldana back, Sigourney Weaver is coming back. Oh, okay. I had to think about wait a minute. You hated the Nicoya Iron Man suits. You talking about the those Midnight Angel suits? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, so we're getting Sigourney Weaver, who I'm surprised that we're getting her back because she died in the first movie. Stephen Lang, Kate Winslet. But guess who else I think I saw was in this movie? Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh is every damn where this year. Everywhere. We're going to talk about Megan on the other side of this Avatar conversation. But yeah, Michelle Yeoh is everywhere. I'm so excited to know that she's getting work. This is like the most I've seen this woman in decades. I've seen her everywhere. So it's set, this movie, Avatar, The Way of Water, is set more than a decade after the events of the first movie. And it's starting to tell the story of the Sully family. That is the Sully and, what was the girl's name? Natiri. Sully and Natiri got married, or they got busy, and they started a family. And they have trouble that follows them. The lengths that they go to keep one another safe, and the battles they fight to stay alive, and the tragedies they endure. So this one is going to be another one that's going to kind of tug at your heartstrings. Let me see. There are a lot of descriptions of the characters, and I don't want to get into what these descriptions are of these characters, because in some ways I feel like they are spoilers. But yeah, I was completely shocked. And I don't see it here where they say, let me see. Let me make sure. Because I saw Michelle Yeoh all over the place. And I mean, in so many different things coming up that I could be wrong. It might not be Avatar, but I'm almost sure that I saw her in Avatar. Let me see. Michelle Yeoh. Let's see what she got coming up next. Okay, so yeah, she's in Avatar 3, 4, and 5. Lord have mercy. She's going to be in the rest of the movies moving forward. I love, y'all know that I love Michelle Yeoh. She's going to be in Transformers Rise of the Beast. She's going to be in, well, she's already in The Witcher. She did The School for Good and Evil. She's everywhere. And I love it. And Lysandra is asking how long since the last Avatar movie. I'm gonna go back and see when the first movie came out. So Avatar was 2009. The original Avatar came out in 2009. So we are now in 2022. We're finally getting the sequel. And then we're going to be getting movies next year. Another Avatar movie comes. Is it next year? Let me look before I start putting my foot in my mouth. Go back to IMDb here. Okay, so Avatar 4 is coming out in 2026 and Avatar 5 is coming out in 2028. Where's Avatar 3? And Avatar 3 is in 2024. So every 2 years, we'll be getting an Avatar movie until Avatar 5. All of these movies are filming at the same time. Avatar 3 is in post-production, but 4 and 5 are both filming right now, even as we speak. Now, Lysandra says she thinks Avatar is going to be the #1 movie of the year. I agree. Yeah, I agree. It's coming out in December. You got the holidays where people do go to movies. They do that as things, these types of things as families during these holidays. And then you have just the fact that it's a sequel to the biggest movie of all time, Avatar. So there's that. They brought out the original Avatar and it was in the top 5 at the box office for a few weeks, which is ridiculous. No, I'm sorry. It was in the top 10. It was in the top 10 at the box office for a few weeks, which is ridiculous when we start talking about the fact that this movie is 13 years old. Then we have just the fact that it's a James Cameron movie and his movies are really good. People go to see James Cameron movies. So yeah, it's been over 13 years. It has been, and its predecessor is still the top movie of all time, I believe. Between Avengers Endgame and Avatar, they kind of was swapping places, but I think it's back to Avatar. Of course it is, because Avatar has been in theaters. So yeah, it's back to Avatar again. What this means is Disney is just going to have a fantastic year because all of these are Disney movies now. Avatar is now under that Disney umbrella. So all of these movies are just just making Disney richer. But I mean, if they're making great movies, so be it, so be it. And I know that the original Avatar was a great movie, fantastic. I'm pretty sure that this movie is going to be more of the same. And then you have the underwater sequences that this movie has. James Cameron has created an underwater kingdom that rivals the Talokan that we saw in in Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And I think that even that one made the Aquaman Underwater Kingdom, even though that was beautiful. Now, don't get it twisted. I loved it. I loved it. It looks a little bit more cartoonish when you compare it to the Black Panther Underwater Kingdom. And then I think the Black Panther Underwater Kingdom is probably going to be put to shame by James Cameron's Underwater Kingdom. Let me see. What else can I tell you about this? It is something that I am truly looking forward to. I might have to find my way out of the house again to see that movie, because it does look fantastic. It's scheduled to be released on December 16th, 2022. It's going to be in 3D and Dolby Cinema, IMAX 3D. This chick right here, I can't see in none of those formats. The only format that I might as well pay my money to see, because the way my vision is set up, is in the regular standard definition or high definition. That's it. As far as I'm concerned, I can't see. But I'm still going to see that movie. Okay, so then we know December 16th, we're getting Avatar 2. And Avatar 3, 4, and 5 will be coming out. I'm sorry. Avatar 4 and 5 will be coming out December 20th, 2024, and December 19th, 2025. So they've got Christmas sold up. Yep, they have got Christmas sold up. And they were talking about Star Wars films coming in between. We have heard nothing about Star Wars films. We do know that we're getting a lot more TV. They did put out a Star Wars, the little short film that I did a little video talking about it. I think the video that I did talking about the short film that was coming out on Disney Plus was longer than the short film that came out on Disney Plus. It was called Grogu and the Dust Bunnies, and it was a hand-drawn animated short. And I can say it's not for me. It wasn't for me. It wasn't made for me. That being said, I did watch it. So when we talk about Avatar 3, we get to talking about Black Panther Wakanda Forever was 2 hours and 41 minutes. Avatar, I keep saying Avatar 3, and I mean Avatar 2. Avatar, The Way of Water, the one that's coming out in December, it laughs at Black Panther. Surely you jest. It's coming out, and it's going to be 190 minutes long, which is 3 hours, 10 minutes long. Let's just think about that. 3 hours, 10 minutes long. That's a long ass time. That's long. That is long. So there are people who complain about 3 hour movies. But then when you think about it, especially when these movies are family movies and you're bringing some kids and kids. Nah, these are some different kids that we know now. See, these kids now can sit down and know that an entire season of a series that they love is on. Whatever streamer that they're watching, they can sit down if they like and watch the entire season of a series that they like. Unlike us, we had 30-minute attention spans because that's how long a series was for us. Or we can sit down, or I say us. I'm a little bit older. So when TV was TV, where you sit down and Thundercats is on and it's 30 minutes long, and then you go outside and play. Then you come back in and Dukes of Hazzard is on, and Dukes of Hazzard is 30 minutes long, and then you go take a bath. It was no sitting all day and watching anything, because nothing was on all day. Nothing. The only time you got to sit all day, and this was like just the first half of the day, you got to get up early to do this now, is on Saturday. On Saturday, you can get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and from 6 to say noon, you can watch cartoons. But then it's take your ass outside. You got to go. Is it cold outside? Put on your boots and your coat, your hat and your scarf and your gloves. You still going outside. This is the way we were brought up. But these kids nowadays, they got longer attention spans for stuff that are sitting in front of screens because they spend their entire life in front of a screen now. And it ain't nobody telling them to go outside. Very few parents are saying, you know what, go outside. That don't happen like that no more. And go outside and don't come back in until it's time to like eat another meal. Like we used to, it was told us, you know what, turn the TV off and go outside and don't come back until it's dinner time. Like, don't come back. We don't even want to see. We want to be able to look out the window and see you. Don't come back in here until it's time for dinner. That was a different time. Now these kids sit down in front of flipping a screen and never leave from in front of a screen. They go from doing their homework on a computer to playing a video game to turning on the TV and watching whatever series that they could watch on a streamer to getting ready to get on social media and talk to their friends, and then they go to bed and they wake up with a screen in their face again. So these different breed of kids, 3 hours ain't nothing to them. They laugh at 3 hours. So anywho, yeah, and then they know that unlike us, we would like try to sit and hold it until the movie was over and the show was over. You can't do that no more. You get your butt up at a time where things starting to move a little bit slow and run your butt to the bathroom and come on back. That's it. That's all. So anyway, that's it. That's all I know about Avatar: The Way of Water. I know a lot about the characters. There's a character list. And again, I don't want to spoil anything because there are a lot of characters returning. I already spoiled one when I said Sigourney Weaver because she died in the first one. And how is she back? So if you're interested in the more trailers that we get, the closer we get to this movie, the more we'll be able to talk about it and speculate a little bit more on where things are going in this movie, this sequel of Avatar. So there's that. Now, Lysandra was asking about Megan, and I don't have a banner or anything about Megan, but I will say this: that movie looks creepy as all get out. Now you know it is from James Wan, I believe. Let's make sure before I get the lion on James Wan. James Wan is an Australian director. He gave us Saw movies. He gave us, what was that movie that I didn't particularly like that just came out recently? Malignant. He gave us Malignant. And he is also the man behind Aquaman and its sequel. So James Wan is a pretty well-known director. He's 45 years old, young for having such a long resume. When you think going back to the original Saw movie, that was in 2004. That's like almost 20 years ago. So you just think about how young he was when he conceived that movie. He's a fantastic director, and I guess you got to have some kind of crazy mind to get to thinking about some Megan type ish. Let me make sure that I did talk about James Wan quite a bit, but I know that he likes to do movies about dolls, but let's see, Megan movie. I want to make sure that it is a James Wan film. No, it's produced by James Wan. It's not directed. It's produced by James Wan and Jason Blum. So it's a Blumhouse production. You've got two big horror directors teamed up to produce this movie, and it's being directed by Gerard Johnstone. Gerard Johnstone, he got so much, it's like his name is an alliteration. Gerard Johnstone, let me see, has he done anything that I myself know of, he has not. Housebound is the movie that is, I guess, the most acclaimed that he has done, and it's on Tubi for free right now. Housebound, so I might watch that. I gotta wait till I don't have Ash, which is I always have Ash. So anywho, Megan is a marvel of artificial intelligence, a lifelike doll that's programmed to be a child's greatest companion and a parent's greatest ally. It was designed by Gemma, a brilliant roboticist. Megan can listen, watch, and learn as it plays the role of friend, teacher, playmate, and protector. So when Gemma becomes the unexpected caretaker of her 8-year-old niece, she decides to give the girl a Megan prototype, and that leads to unimaginable consequences. It's coming out January 6, 2023, right around my B-Day. We don't have much else about it. I don't see if they telling us yet how long the movie is. We do know that it is rated PG-13, so it's not going to be too rough. It's PG-13, but I don't have any information as far as whether this is like a 90-minute movie and you're only going to be in the movies for a little while or what. But we do know that it's coming from a horror team in Jason Blum and James Wan as the producers, and I'm trusting that they chose Gerard Johnstone because he is capable of delivering a few scares. If you're into that sort of thing, everybody ain't into Megan. Everybody ain't into. And here's a piece of trivia about it. The doll is actually played by an actress. That's not a toy. It's not CGI. That's what they say. Now look, that doll might be all CGI. This is what was said, that it is not CGI, that it is an actress playing this doll. So anywho, David is talking about Avatar. It's going to be a biggie. It is. It's going to probably be one of the top 10 films of all time as far as box office is concerned. It's probably going to be one of the top 10 films of all time, Avatar 2. And that is insane when you really think about it. It's going to make that much of an impact on box office history. I feel like. Now, I could be wrong. Y'all know I've been wrong before, but this time I think it's really safe. It's really safe to assume that that Avatar 2, The Way of Water, is going to be a top 10 box office, and I would venture to say it could possibly break the top 5. We shall see. It has to be good. It needs to have legs, so it can have a great big old fantastic opening weekend. If that movie sucks and people say bad things about it, that is going to walk back everything I just said. It will not have legs. What you need is for people to still be wanting to see this movie by Valentine's Day. And that's what the first movie gave us. The first movie stayed in theaters for a long time. And then it left and came back to theaters, and it left and came back to theaters because people were still seeing the movie. The previews of this movie are absolutely awesome. You are correct, David. They look beautiful, like sickeningly beautiful, just like the original Avatar was far ahead of its time. And now to think about the fact that the original Avatar looks a bit cartoonish, and it was such a groundbreaking cinematography, the look of it back in whatever year that was, 2000, what did we say, 2009? The look of it was so groundbreakingly beautiful. I feel like, wow, this looks real. This now, what they have access to is going to look even more lifelike than the original. And then we got 2 years before the next one, and 2 years before the next one. It's going to just continue, the quality of these films is just going to move up like any film. But because these movies are part of a franchise, and at some point in the future, you're going to be able to watch all of these movies together, even though you're going to have to be sitting still for a long ass time. I promise you. You're going to be sitting still for a long time to watch them all together. However, you'll be able to watch them all together, and you will be able to see how the technology progressed behind the making of these films. I think that part of it is actually really good too. I do want to look at one more thing about Avatar, the original Avatar movie, and that is the length of it. I can't remember how long it was. So let's see. That one released on December 18th, 2009, way back then. It made thus far it has made $2.9222 million or billion dollars in the United States. Or say that again, Tasha. It has made $2.922 billion worldwide, and on a budget of 237 million, which was like drops in the bucket compared to how much it made back. So very profitable film. I am trying to find exactly how long this movie was. Let's see, go here. Tasha. The original Avatar movie was 162 minutes long, which is 2 hours 42 minutes, right? So we're getting a half hour more movie with the Avatar movie that's coming out in December. Getting a half hour more movie. But that when you start talking about sitting down and doing a marathon of the Avatar movies in say 10 years, you got to have some time on your hands, because the first two movies we're already talking about almost 6 hours. Then you still got 3 more movies. So yeah. That's it. That's all that I've got about Avatar. We talked about Megan. We talked about that beautiful episode of Star Trek Prodigy. Another show that I have started, or I'm beginning to attempt to watch, is that Transformers Earth Spark on Paramount Plus. It is like, I guess, to the Transformers franchise, it is what Prodigy is to the Star Trek franchise. And I'm trying to get into it, We'll see how long it will keep my interest. What else? I don't have anything else. Keep your eyes and ears open for my because James Gunn, I don't know if you heard me at the beginning, I'm working on a longer video. It's like a real long one. 15 whole minutes. These last few videos I've done have been shorts. So I've got a 15 to 20 minute video coming out shortly that is about a question that James Gunn himself asks. And, I'm going to come to that, David. James Gunn asked the fandom over on Mastodon. That is a different social media site, and I've got a few listed here: Fanbase, Mastodon, Tumblr, Discord. If you are trying to find your way away from Twitter, those are some good choices, and you will find me on all of them. So, but I haven't put it in my show notes yet. So James Gunn asked over on Mastodon, what characters would you like to see done for the big screen from DC that you haven't yet seen done? And I am answering James Gunn's question with 2 videos. The first one will be with my the first one is going to be with my bench team that I'd like to see done into movies, and the second video is going to be my starting 5. So keep your eyes open for those 2 videos. Now, David wants to know what I know about The Orville. I did not like the first season of The Orville. That said, I have thoroughly enjoyed everything after that. Really and truly. Didn't like the first season. The second season was just downright, I won't say it was leaps and bounds from the first season. So the second season was just leaps and bounds again. The third season was an absolute masterpiece. If you ask me, I truly, truly hope that, again, The Orville is under the Disney umbrella. Everything is under the Disney umbrella. Yay. But The Orville is under the Disney umbrella. They really need to bring The Orville back for season 4. I am so looking forward to seeing how the story continues. They did end it in such a way in season 3 that would make you say, they did it like this just in case they don't come back. But if they don't come back, there is a problem. There is a huge problem because the show has progressively gotten better. And it is, there are people who want to do the comparison thing. Don't say, oh, this is more like Star Trek than that. No, say The Orville has truly grown since episode 1 to where we are in season 3. I think it was 10 episodes in season 3. And the last episode was called Future Unknown, because that's where we are. The future is unknown. But from that first episode to this last one we've seen, it has grown leaps and bounds. It is getting better and better. It stopped being a satire of Star Trek and started being its own thing. And now that it is its own thing and it has its own personality, even though you will see some similarities between plot points between Orville episodes and episodes that we have seen in, say, the Next Generation of Star Trek, you still see this show stepping off and becoming its own thing. And it's on Hulu. If you are interested in science fiction, which I know many of why would you be here if you weren't? But if you're really interested in science fiction and you have not watched The Orville, go ahead and watch it all. I didn't enjoy the first season. I'm not going to mince my words, but I'm so glad that I did follow through with the series, and it's become a series that I truly love. So I don't know what your thoughts are on The Orville. If you got similar or different thoughts, let me know down in the comments or in chat. I have enjoyed talking to you guys today, but my voice is coming and it's going, and it's coming and it's going. So I think it's time for me to give it a rest. I'll try to be back and actually talk about some news, because you notice this was really loose conversation. There's been some crazy shit happening. and I hope that I hope I'm not the only person that's starting to feel like this is like bizarro world we're living in. But anywho, we'll talk about that another time. David, you said very cool. Thanks, Tasha. Is it affiliated with Star Trek at all? It's only affiliated in the fact that what is his name? Seth MacFarlane, from Family Guy and American Dad. Seth MacFarlane was a huge, huge Star Trek fan. And this was his love letter to Star Trek. But that he has he had a certain kind of humor. And I that's what I didn't like about the first season of The Orville. It leaned far too heavily into the Family Guy, American Dad kind of humor. And it has moved away from only being that in these later 2 seasons. So it is not affiliated with Star Trek, except for the fact that Seth MacFarlane, who created the show and stars in the show, is a huge Star Trek fan. He loves Star Trek probably just as much, maybe even more than we do. So thank you, David, for being here. Thank you, Lysandra. Thank you, Clarence, for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Thanks for being here. And I'll see you guys in the next stream. Peace.